Hello readers and digital people, and welcome back to GP Reads. I am your host, Grant Reads, and today we are doing our final dive into the backrooms before our big official dive, our actual dive, not the Explored. This is the last episode of the Explored series. There's a lot to think about, a lot to look over right now. But before I do that, let's go ahead and react to the last video, break it down, and I'll give you my final analysis before the main dive. This hat is too big. I'm not used to a bowler. Okay, sunset. Again, the sun. Definitely sun symbolism here. And the yellow, it's kind of like the sun. I didn't think of that before. The illness of the backrooms is kind of like a sunset or the sun. Raw. Courtesy of Oak Ridge National Laboratory, conducted on May 10th, 82, under the supervision of Philip R Heymann. Gonna have to look that up. It looks like a small rudimentary collider, like one of the earlier models of a Hadron collider. Come on, Grant, you can talk today. Is that there's a little sphere at the center. I'm guessing that's where the radon or whatever radioactive material they're studying is placed. Kind of centered at the middle so they can blast it. Little spinny doodad. Little spinny doodad out in front. Okay, seeing and around it again, we see the smaller colliders. So they're definitely experimenting with gravity and fields and alternate dimensions. Oh! And there they go, opening the backrooms, or at least a very small portion of it. I guess this was the first test, or one of the first. Oh! Oh! The orb's gone! I bet you they're tracking to see where it went. Or, after this test. They wanted to figure out where it went, and that's how they accidentally discovered the backrooms. They sent that little orb into the backrooms by accident while studying it. Interesting. And there's yellow energy leaking out of the containments. Oh, is that it? That was quick. Yeah, definitely a couple new thoughts. One is that the yellow of a sunset, or just the yellow of the sun in general, is very reflective of the color of the backrooms, the type of light in the backrooms, the energy that is emitted when you open the backrooms, that yellow energy. I want to know what that sphere actually was, what type of material it was. It was very compatible with that field of energy, that style of dimension. What exactly were they studying here before? Was it just the fact that they were studying gravity and, different dimensions? Or were they even studying different dimensions at this point? This more so makes me think about CERN and, the possibility of, creating black holes, things like that. Just studying the effects of antimatter and matter and gravity. It seems like that's what they were studying here when they accidentally found the backrooms, possibly through this orb being sent there. Yeah, the energy was different too, see? The energy within the small colliders, or maybe they're not small colliders, maybe they're batteries, I don't know what they are, was more of a white. And then after the thing was sent there, they turned that backrooms yellow. Yeah, they were glowing with backrooms energy, which tells me whatever they have stored in those, whatever kind of energy they're producing in those, is actually tiny holes into the backroom, or at least backroom energy they accidentally created in this experiment. Okay, I did find a book of physics. The references of Philip R. Heymann. Massive neutrinos and the large-scale structure of the universe. Primordial nucleosynthesis. Particle physics and cosmology. This is definitely something we're going to have to look into for the dive. Dark matter. They were studying dark matter. Well, now we know what they're studying. It's a good thing we looked that up. Definitely got to bookmark this book. And oddly enough, nothing else important really seemed to happen that year. Nothing hidden in the description, so not a whole lot still. But now we can go ahead and give our final analysis. I don't want to spoil everything, but I am going to go over it a little bit. So it looks like in the 70s and 80s, they were experimenting with, hadron colliders, maybe gravity, anti-gravity, things like that, and they accidentally sent this orb to the backrooms. And in doing so, they're like, oh, there might be a pocket dimension here, or there's something there. They thought something was there. They tried to figure out where that orb went, and it led them to this pocket dimension. So I don't think they created the backrooms. I think they found the backrooms. So they sent people in, people disappeared, they accidentally had an overload, it caused the earthquakes, which caused the rips, which caused people to fall into it, like we saw at the beginning. But that's the last one to occur, so I think something else happened before then. People kept disappearing. They were already making small cracks just by the little test they were doing, and the person we saw that was infected, I believe, is the one that Nathan plays, and there's already cracks forming, people already slipping in. They find the person, find out they're infected, so then they become really curious, and in doing so, they accidentally discover that there's these creatures in there. They start studying the creatures. Now they want to know what's going on there. They keep doing these tests, and something that we haven't seen yet, something big happens that causes the whole thing to just collapse. I don't know if it was because repeated uses, just one of the times I opened it, there was an overload, something happened, they lost containment, and that's where we see the earthquake and the horrible thing happen. And then after that, then we see another clip through with Kane, and this is later on after the creatures are either fully formed, maybe they accidentally caused the creatures to evolve, or caused time to speed up, and now the creatures have evolved, or maybe they accidentally made the creatures somehow, maybe it's people that are infected. Because, I mean, there's a lot of people that disappeared, we don't see any bodies except for that one. I wonder if they became these creatures we're seeing are actually the other humans that fell in and became infected. That's what I believe. Kane would be the newest one, he's probably still in there. He's probably infected now because one of the creatures grabbed him and his camera fell through. Now let's go into the lore of what this place actually is. I don't think the virus is native. I really don't. I don't know, it could be. It could go one of two different ways. Either it's native, and that is what the ancient Egyptians discovered and somehow knew about, maybe through someone who was actually from this dimension, or they accidentally slipped through themselves and were infected and became immortalized, because we do see that it does immortalize you. It preserves certain organs, stops decay entirely, and then fills the rest of the body cavities with the bacteria. It's funny because the organs that looked like they were overcome are the organs the ancient Egyptians took out of the body because they weren't necessary for the afterlife body, which seems to connect that back to it again. So I'm wondering if the ancient Egyptian mythology was actually based off of the backrooms. Maybe there's always been cracks. Maybe the scientists just made them more prominent, and there's always been cracks, and that maybe they built temples around these cracks so that it would be harder to get to, yet they would still be accessible to those, like the pharaoh, that they wanted to immortalize. And them creating the underground passages like KV-31 for their pharaohs was actually to mirror the backrooms, or to lead them into the backrooms so that they could be immortalized. And then, the yellow, the Eye of Ra, because they wouldn't be able to explain lights back then, like mechanical lights. So maybe it already looked like this, and, the easiest way to explain it was a sun god, the eyes of the sun god, the all-seeing eyes of the sun god. So they thought that was Ra. Maybe Ra is just the lights and the colors. And then, the gods of the dead are people that were infected that fell through into the backrooms. Another mythology that they could tie into this is Plato's cave. This could be an echo dimension or an in-between dimension that actually mirrors outward into our world. This could be where our world projects from. The idea of Plato's cave is that when we see a flower, we're just seeing the projection of a flower. We don't see the true flower. What if the true things exist in the backrooms and projected outward into our world? Almost like a video game. The unused assets are set in a separate place, and then they just copy and paste it from there. It's the same concept, but in real life, from a dimensional standpoint, or maybe it's even a simulation. Again, all these things and more will be discussed in my full dive, which will be coming out very soon. I'm going to be working on another project at the same time. It shouldn't be more than a week or so, but I will definitely be doing it very, very soon. And if you have anything you'd like to add to that before we jump in, please, please, please leave it in the comments below. I will read every single one. I will consider every single one. I'll do the research, and we'll figure it out together. Thank you all so much for watching this Backrooms Explored series. If you enjoyed this series, please let me know, and we'll do it for another series later on. If you all did not like this series, you thought it was maybe too long, we can do more of a live dive format, maybe, some live dive, some in this format. Just let us know what you think. I would love to know what you all think about the Explored series on GP Reads. I love you all, and until next time, keep your eyes wide open and never stop reading. I'll see you all. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my patrons and channel members. Thanks to you, I'm able to do what I love. All proceeds go back towards the channel for props, for costumes, and for any trips we take or any games we play. CNK114, Investigator Zeus, Dobby's Music, Jerry Mullins, Free Spirit Katie, Poof Poof, MC Darfer, Vexus, and Agnieszka Gawronska. Really, thank you all so much for allowing me to do what I love to do.